chocolate. But what I can do now is I'll probably lose some of these. There was one. Two. So I'm just being very careful when I'm tapping this. And one of the reasons why is just because that, but it's so humid in here too that I was trying to do some of it up a little bit earlier. So then now I can go like this because I'm going to just pop those others out. But you can see how some of it didn't have, I kind of rushed it before I let that set. So you can see what happens. And this is why it's really important. So this is actually a benefit to you because one of the fun things that you get to, one of the challenges of working with chocolate is when you deal with different temperatures and humidities. So what had happened was with this, we were working with our chocolate and the cocoa butter was warm still and it hadn't set. Can you pull that mold out of the cooler for me? When that hadn't set, so what happened was when I applied my chocolate to the bonbon mold, it kind of blended with it, and it then, because of that, it ends up getting mixed in with it, so it doesn't have contact with the surface of the bonbon mold. When that doesn't have contact with the surface of the bonbon mold, it makes for too thin of a shell, so then when you go to go pull away, it doesn't ever set properly, so then that's where it tears out, and so you'll run into that problem. So I'm going to let that come up to temperature for a little bit. Here we have our bonbon molds. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to fill this to about 2 to 3 millimeters from the surface with the ganache. So the nice thing is with these is you would be able to kind of do this in time. So you get your chocolate going. Once that's going, cast that. You know, while that's chocolate's melting, you're going to be decorating your bonbon mold. Cast that. While that's casting, you can be doing like maybe another component of the dessert. Then you go back and you, once that sets a little bit, then you fill it with your ganache. Then you go back through, wait till that ganache sets a little bit, then you can go back through and pipe some chocolate on top to cap it. So it's a process, but it works so that you can split it up. Let's tap that out just to kind of flatten that. We will let this set for a little while, just to solidify. And then, what we can do is, we can pretend that that component was, that ganache has been set. And then it's just a matter of going through, and if you had your ganache on the top, I would just bring some chocolate in like this, cap it off. You want to have a really nice clean finish on that top. I do my best to keep my bonbon clean too. So tapping out any air bubbles, and then we can go ahead and pop it into the freezer. Go ahead. So it's kind of the bonbon element of it. So a couple things that I want you to see too is we can do some different chocolate before. So we have our tempered chocolate. So you'll notice here, I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with your parchment bags. So I have two different styles here. So this is just a single time around, here's a double time around. I go around twice. The reason why I like to use this is because it insulates the bag a little bit more. The biggest mistake a lot of people make is they overfill their bag. That's all you need, because it's gonna crystallize a lot faster outside of your bowl. It's outside of the larger mass of chocolate. So this is how we can achieve a chocolate nest. So I have a frozen marble here. Let it soften back up. And then you have like a little chocolate mess there. So you can see how there's a really super quick chocolate decor. You're not sitting there working with a bonbon necessarily. And if you have that marble gets frozen pretty quickly, and it will stay frozen because marble holds its temperature.
Now, how would you guys, I guess, if you wanted to do something like this in ProStart, are you allowed to bring in like a dry ice or something like that?
That is a great question. Does someone know the answer to that?
But you can't have the marble with the dry ice.
Oh, you can't have it with the or no?
Then you have it.
When you got there, you can put it on. Once the time starts, you put it on the dry ice.
Oh, you can't have it sitting in the dry ice.
Not ahead of time, really.
Oh, not it can't be part of your music class. It has to be part of the hour.
Yeah.
To get it cold.
Okay.
With the dry ice sitting on it.
But then that works really great to incorporate like either mousse on top of it, quenelle. You could do
That looks like something.
a sorbet on top of it. Whatever it may be that you're going to do. So that works well for that. Here's this. I'm going to cap this on here too.
She was so dedicated to it. So where to get that pretty color? You just get that temper. Okay.
So then I'll take this and I'm going to pop this into the freezer as well. Another thing that we have, so doing some more chocolate decor. There's a few things you can do if you wanted to deal with a couple different. If you want to deal with white and dark chocolate, this works really cool for art. So you can come in and.
Again, that's just tempered chocolate.
Yep, this is just tempered chocolate.
Okay.
We have this little tool. So this is used to create.
That's how they do that.
So if you had two different types of chocolate, you could go through with some white chocolate now, once that sets. Let that set. While we're waiting, we'll go ahead and So remember, you really want thin. The thinner you can get with your chocolate, the higher the technique and the points will show. So then I wait for that to kind of start to set, but see how you have a nice contrast in color. So that can look really nice on dessert. And that's just achieved by using, our cocoa butter. I'll grab this. I have all my little stations set up. So I'll just grab this. And it's just a matter of coming through and brushing.
Now, I'm assuming you have a chocolate lab when you do this at your facility?
Yeah, right across the hallway here. All
Okay.
temperature and humidity controlled.
Okay.
You should keep it at around.
It makes
60
life a lot
degrees.
easier.
A lot
But now,
Right.
I do not have a temperature or climate control meter. So it's really fun when I get to do some of this stuff and I'm like, okay, great, let's work against the elements of Michigan in August. But that's how you would achieve that. So then once we get there, I usually come through with a little cutter. Now, the reason why you probably notice I have all these sill pads around, and one of the biggest things for me is because I have a lot of metal, so the metal is going to allow that chocolate to set a lot faster. And if I want to give myself a little bit more wiggle room, a little more time, I would still pat down because that's your barrier between your cool transfer or just temperature transfer in general, which makes your life just a little bit easier because sometimes if I was doing that and you were doing it on a metal table or a marble table, that's going to set up really super fast and then it might be too fast.
So how do I get you to come visit me? I mean, do I set that up through Mark?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. You know, we do the demos. You know, I'm the traveling demo.
You were
chef
saying that
represents
yesterday,
the
and I
system,
never
yep.
met you.
So it just, that's really picked up a lot over the past year.
Okay.